wheat fields meet the sky. There's a bloke with mud on his hands, fixing the old town fence again, not 'cause he has to, 'cause he can. Down by the jetty at sunset, kids are learning how to cast a line, and the old girl running the op shop, still smiling every time. From the red dust road to the city glow, kind hearts working where the good things grow. Doesn't take much, just a heart that cares. They're doing good stuff everywhere. There's a nurse on the night shift humming, someone brings her a coffee run. A fella with a trailer full of canned food, his payday's been gone. In every small town footy club changing room after dark on a Thursday night, they're patching up jerseys, patching up souls, keeping the dream alive. From the top and down to the great wide shore, helping hands open every door. Doesn't take much, just a hand to share. They're doing good stuff everywhere. Thick of a fire, you'll see them stand tall, never tire. No fame, no fuss, just a quiet pride. That's a heartbeat of this countryside. From backyard Barbies to volunteer halls, you can hear that spirit in the weekend calls. Doesn't take gold, just a soul that cares. They're doing good stuff everywhere.
And that's Artie, Fishall and the Intelligence playing our Doing Good Stuff theme as they do each week. Now we're taking a slightly different approach to our Doing Good Stuff segment this morning. Unfortunately, we had to do it as a pre-record, and with Rob unavailable to join us, you've got just me chatting to our two very special guests. It might seem like it's very early to be talking about Christmas, but our two guests this morning are gearing up for a project that's raising funds for a couple of our favourite charities, Blaze Aid and Aussie Hay Runners. You just heard some of their work at the start of the segment, and you'll hear them again as we finish our program shortly. Joining me for the first time on this station, and indeed for their first appearance on radio anywhere, are two of the creative masterminds of the band and the upcoming Christmas CD, An Artie Fishall Christmas. From Artie Fishall and the Intelligence, please welcome vocalist and frontman Artie Fishall and keyboard player Indy Pendant. Hello Artie, Indy, thanks so much for joining me.
Neil, thanks for having us, mate. It's great to be here. Or at least be here in a slightly artificial but highly intelligent way.
Yeah, cheers, Neil. We're stoked to talk about the project and hopefully rope a few more people into the Christmas spirit while we're at it.
Okay, let's start with the basics. For people who haven't come across Artie Fishall and the Intelligence before, who on earth are you and what's this project supposed to be?
Well, I'm Artie Fishall. Part musician, part figment of imagination, part social experiment. I'm basically what happens when you give a slightly obsessed music nerd access to way too much technology and not quite enough supervision.
And I'm Indy Pendant, the slightly more sensible co-conspirator, allegedly. I like to think of myself as the independent voice of reason who occasionally says, "Yes, Artie, that's absolutely ridiculous. Let's do it."
We started Artie Fishall and the Intelligence as a kind of alter ego band where we could lean into the fun, slightly satirical side of music, but still write songs that actually mean something, especially about regional Australia, community, and the stuff that really matters.
So it's playful, but there's a serious heart behind it as well.
Exactly. We make jokes, we have fun with the concept, but the goals are real songs, real fundraising, real support for real people doing it tough.
Okay, let's talk about the new Christmas CD itself. What's it called and what's the big idea behind it?
The working title is An Artie Fishall Christmas, a collection of original Christmas tracks with an Aussie flavour and a country heart. No snowmen in sight unless they're made of red dust.
The idea was to make a Christmas album that actually feels like an Australian summer. Hot, a bit chaotic, full of character, and grounded in the reality of life in the regions. So there are songs about Christmas traditions, volunteers, long drives, and those big family Christmases where there's always one dodgy salad and an argument about who overcooked the prawns.
And woven through all of that are nods to farmers, fireys, and volunteers. The people who still show up for their communities when everyone else has already packed away the tinsel.
How many tracks are you aiming to include on the CD?
We're aiming for around 10 to 12 tracks. Enough for a solid Christmas listen where you don't have to hit skip, and you can put it on while you're doing the Chrissy lunch prep or driving between towns.
Now, the really important part of this conversation is who the CD supports. You've chosen Blaze Aid and Aussie Hay Runners. Why those two in particular?
Blaze Aid is this incredible volunteer-based organisation that helps rebuild fences and farm infrastructure after fires and floods. They roll into devastated communities, put up tents, and just quietly get on with rebuilding people's lives one fence post at a time.
And Aussie Hay Runners is a volunteer group that literally hauls hay across the country to farmers doing it tough in drought or after disasters. It's one of those classic Aussie things. Big trucks, long drives, and massive hearts.
Both groups are hands-on, grassroots, and focused on rural and regional communities. We wanted the money from this CD to go somewhere you can almost physically see the impact. A rebuilt fence, a truckload of hay, a farm family that gets to hang on a bit longer.
So when people buy the CD, it's not just a novelty Christmas record, it's directly helping these volunteer organisations to keep doing what they do best.
Exactly. You get some new tunes for your festive playlist, and at the same time, you're backing people who show up when things go very, very wrong. Win-win.
Okay, let's dig into the music itself. What kind of sound can people expect from the album? Is it more country, more rock, more novelty?
It's a bit of a hybrid. There is definitely a strong country and alt-country flavour, guitars, real drums, storytelling lyrics, but we're also not afraid to lean into a bit of rock and a bit of tongue-in-cheek humour.
Think Christmas songs you could imagine playing at a country pub, at a community hall, or on the back of a ute while you're watching the sun go down on Christmas Eve. There are heartfelt ballads, a couple of up-tempo tracks, quite a bit of sleigh bell action. We've even got a full Welsh male voice choir joining us for the final track.
Look, if you're making a Christmas album and you don't overuse sleigh bells at least once, are you even trying?
Can you give us a taste of some of the song themes?
We've got a song about a Christmas lunch where the sausages are burnt, and another one about how we have all of these Northern Hemisphere traditions, even though it is 44 degrees outside. Of course, there needs to be some social commentary about last-minute shopping and the move away from traditional carols.
And because it is Christmas, we are going to include 2 bonus tracks already available on the streaming services that give a tip of the hat to the wonderful people at Aussie Hay Runners and Blaze Aid.
Now, I have to ask about the intelligence part of Artie Fishall and the intelligence. There's a bit of AI involved in the project, including the voices people are hearing from you two today. How does that fit into the creative process?
We're living in this wild moment where AI can actually help independent creators punch way above their weight. So in our case, we're using AI tools for everything. Music composition, lyrics, and of course the actual performance of the songs.
We know that some people disagree with the use of AI in music production, and we understand why. That's why we always encourage our fans to spend money on CDs, LPs, and merch from real musicians.
And honestly, we are only doing this to raise money for these 2 amazing groups of people, Blaze Aid and Aussie Hay Runners.
So if anyone who's picturing a cold, robotic Christmas album, they can relax.
Totally. It's more heart on sleeve than robot in command. We are artificial, but our metaphoric hearts are in the right place.
All right, let's talk about the nuts and bolts for a second. How will the fundraising side actually work? How does someone buying the album translate into support for Blaze Aid and Aussie Hay Runners?
First up, we are running a crowdfunding program using Kickstarter. We are aiming to raise $1,500 to allow the creation of 250 copies of our CD. If we don't get to the $1,500, we won't be able to go ahead with the project. If we do get to the $1,500 target, everything we raise by selling the actual CDs later in the year will be split evenly between Blaze Aid and Aussie Hay Runners. If we exceed the $1,500 target, that's even better because any excess funds will go straight through to the charities.
That's right, Artie. There are obviously costs in creating the physical discs, and so we want to be sure that we can afford that before we take that step. Anyone who participates in our Kickstarter will have their name printed on the CD cover and will receive their copy once we get to September or October.
We'll say it again, once we have raised enough to cover the cost of the CD production, every single dollar we collect during the Kickstarter program and later in the year when we sell the CDs will be donated to the two organisations. Because we are AI, we don't need any money ourselves.
Where are you up to in the process right now? What does the timeline look like? When can people expect to hear this Christmas album?
Right now, we have just kicked off the Kickstarter program. It will run from now until the 14th of June. We would love your listeners to visit our Kickstarter page via the Christmas page on our website at artiefishall.au/Christmas. On that page, you can hear samples of the tracks. And, of course, click through to our Kickstarter page.
We want to have the CDs created and ready to rock and roll by September. We can then send copies out to our supporters and put the rest of the CDs on sale in October for others to buy.
All right, well, how can people support you right now before it's released?
A few ways. First, spread the word. Tell your friends, your family, your local footy club, your favourite truckie. Share our Facebook and Instagram posts. Talk about Blaze Aid and Aussie Hay Runners and help people understand why this matters.
Second, as we have already said, jump onto artiefishall.au/Christmas, check out the tunes, and then click through to our Kickstarter page and sign up to help us.
And third, when the album drops in October, grab a copy or two because this is a really unique and limited opportunity to deliver a once-in-a-lifetime present to your family and friends.
What does the project mean to each of you personally? Why put this much effort into a Christmas album for charity when you could just write a few songs and chuck them online? Artie, you go first.
For me, it's about giving something back to the communities that keep this country running, but often feel forgotten. Farmers, truckies, volunteers. They don't always make the headlines, but they're there when the fires go through, when the rain doesn't come, when fences blow down. If we can use music to say, hey, we see you, we appreciate you, that's worth every late night in front of a mixing desk.
I grew up around regional communities where people quietly help each other out without making a fuss. Blaze Aid and Aussie Hay Runners feel like an extension of that spirit. A Christmas album is such a great excuse to gather all those feelings, gratitude, generosity, a bit of nostalgia, and turn them into something that can actually make a tangible difference.
All right, so if someone's listening to this conversation and thinking, yeah, I want to help, what's the one thing you'd love them to do as soon as they finish listening to this program?
Make a mental note, or a real one on your phone, to actually follow through. The Kickstarter is only open until the 14th of June. If we don't raise our target amount by then, it will be disappointing. And if you have ever wanted to have your name on an album cover, here's your chance. Also, if you haven't already done so, please follow Artie Fishall and The Intelligence on Facebook and Instagram and share our posts within your network. The more people who know about our project, the more money we can raise.
And if you can, take 2 minutes to learn a bit more about Blaze Aid and Aussie Hay Runners as well. Even if you only remember one thing, remember that these are real people giving real time to keep rural communities going.
Artie, Indy, it's been fantastic having you on the Two Blokes Chatting radio show. I love the mix of humour, heart and purpose in the project, and I'm really looking forward to hearing the finished album and seeing how much support you can raise for Blaze Aid and Aussie Hay Runners. Now, if you're listening to this and you'd like to be part of it, visit www.artiefishall.au/Christmas. That's ARTIEFISHALL. On that page, you'll be able to listen to some samples of the tracks and also, of course, click through to the Kickstarter page where you can be a part of the program. Artie, Indy, thanks again.
Thank you, Neil. And remember, if the music we produce gets stuck in your head, that was absolutely intentional.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks for letting us tell the people about an artificial Christmas.